What's up, guys? It's Tuesday. Welcome to CassMAC chat. Let me share this real quick. I don't know why. There we go. See my face. Let me share it real quick. A lot of news to get to, but I'm not gonna start talking about that until some get in here. A lot of news the last 48 hours or so, roster-wise, which makes our job more fun / a little bit more confusing in terms of the bullpen and how that's going to shake out. But excited, itching to get started, even though MLB officially started this morning with a 4-1 win by the Dodgers over the Cubs. So, all right. All right, so come in. Literally 20 minutes ago, the Braves agreed to bring back Craig Kimbrell on a minor league deal. So don't freak out. It'll be worth $2 million if he's able to make it back. But he will start in the minor leagues to ramp back up. So low risk, high reward type of move. It's been 10 years since he's been here. And Rick Kranitz can work his magic, or has multiple times in the past, so it's exciting in that regard. I realize that he's struggled playoffs and just recently with command and everything, but this is definitely one of those flyers. Kind of wish it happened a little bit earlier in spring so we could get a full picture. But you need the depth in the minors anyway, so him building back up that way isn't a terrible thing either. And of course, I'm always going to love Craig, so I'm not worried about that at all. So that is the one big piece. The other is yesterday we traded Angel Perdomo to the Angels for cash considerations. Clearly, he wasn't going to make the team, but I felt he did more than Anderson Pilar. I mean, Pilar blew up in that one outing against the Phillies. I thought he did enough, and we like left-handed pitchers, so only having two left-handed pitchers as of now is kind of scary for me, given the NL East and how stacked with all-star lefties it is. But that probably gives you an indicator that AJ Smith-Shawver has a better shot of making the roster as the fifth starter or the long man, with Grant Holmes probably in the 4 spot before Spencer Strider comes back, and AJ Smith-Shawver has definitely earned that with 18 strikeouts and just 3 walks, whereas Ian Anderson, no pictures on the scorecard, has struggled this spring with command, 18 walks, just 7 strikeouts. I realize he has no options, and that's probably the reason we continue to give him chances, then he'll likely be on the roster. But I don't think 18 walks is sustainable. He had five walks in his 5 innings of work against Boston yesterday after Strider just came in and blew everybody away. 8 up, 8 down. 6 strikeouts, 23 strikes, 27 pitches. I know the timeline is late April, early May, but based on yesterday, I don't know how that timeline is going to stick, and I think that's a good thing, but just having Strider look the way he did, there was no rust, there was no holding back, 94 to 97 on the velocity. He even threw some changeups and curveballs as well. So he went with a full arsenal yesterday, 2 2/3. So it's like the opposite end of the spectrum Ian's getting the job done, but I just don't think it's sustainable given how deep a lot of these lineups are. And I don't have this statistic in front of me, but it feels like every time you give up a leadoff walk, it scores, and when you give up a leadoff hit, you have a better shot of getting out of it. And you walk multiple people, you just have a less margin for error. So I don't know how long this Ian Anderson train is going to last, but it's going to be a wild ride. So buckle up if he's around next week. But again, Alex Anthopoulos continues to groove. The roster is never set in stone. We also added veteran catcher James McCann on a minor league deal. Bit same like Craig. If he makes the roster, it'll be $1 million. I think this has more to do with like Kurt Casale leaving the organization yesterday, Sandy Leon being reassigned, and Chadwick Trump having no options. I don't think it has anything to do with Drake Baldwin whatsoever. I think he's going to get a shot to begin the season because of Sean Murphy's injury. And I honestly don't think he has anything left to prove in the minors. So I think in the amount he's caught the last week or so shows that he's going to be a vital piece, at least to start the season. And I don't think his plate discipline, plate awareness, and ability to go up the other way is also a thing that you can't teach. And Chris Sale and the entire staff giving him as much praise as they have is telling in itself, because the Braves don't give empty compliments. They never have, especially Chris Sale. And I just I have really huge hopes for this kid. And just very excited to see where it goes, for sure. So I think these depth moves, and they definitely could be low risk, high reward. I know a lot of people don't like James McCann, the stats and all that stuff, but he's been around the league. He knows everything. He's a veteran, not going to cost a lot. And the same with Craig Kimbrell. If he makes it, it'll be $2 million. So I don't think there's ever. I'm not. I mean, it's a minor league deal. Rick Kranitz has had success recalibrating guys. We've seen it, and it's a minor league deal. So it's definitely low risk, high reward to me. I don't think don't read too much into it other than that. And I mean, the bullpen is what it is. And Craig Kimbrell does have that track record. 440 saves. I know he struggled with command and whatnot, as I stated earlier, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, great. I don't think we're done seeing moves. The Angel Perdomo move surprised me more than the Kimbrell move, honestly. Just because I thought he showed enough, especially in the last two outings. No, please. Iglesias is going to be. That's not even a question. Whoa, Joseph, let's not. Joseph. Kimbrell is not going to be. Kimbrell is not going to be the closer. He's the Iglesias. It's Iglesias's. Kimbrell still got the stuff. I think we don't need to read too much into it. He's gonna start in the minor leagues until we actually see it and actually see progress of it. No, he's not touching Raisel Iglesias's role. And even honestly, Pierce Johnson. I like Pierce Johnson more in the setup role right now, but again, you're gonna just have to see it before you believe anything. I really I think again it's a low risk, high reward move, and you just got to see it play out. I think before you judge or you put roles together or any of that stuff, because it happens so quickly. Like the vibes are probably going to be good. So don't read in anything other than that. Strider did look very good yesterday. I spoke about that earlier, but more people are coming in, so I'll circle back. 2 2/3, 8 up, 8 down, change up, curveball, fastball, 94 to 97, 27 pitches, 23 strikes. I did say I don't know how they are going to continue with the late April, early May rehab timetable. Yeah, it's also probably to in his career. That's a good point, Julie. But I really think he wants that. But I think the Braves don't make moves unless they think there's something there. I think there's still something there. Yeah, I mean, I think there is, and $2 million nowadays is not a lot. But yeah, Strider, the late April, early May timeline may be pushed up based on what we saw yesterday. I know it's just one outing, but he looked like he never left, honestly. So that's a really good sign. Again, I spoke about. No, I did not get up for the game in Japan. Have had a lot of stuff going on lately, so I checked out the highlights when I got up this morning, but I slept in and did all that. I think it's a little weird to have an international thing and then have them come back to spring training, baseball, all that stuff. I think it's a little weird, but I'm not going to try to sound like an old woman yelling at my grass, but it's kind of what I think of that. I mean, the Dodgers Cubs only had 3 hits, so. But I will circle back to. I don't think we're done seeing moves. Obviously, you've got decisions to make on Eli White, Nick Allen. Those guys have no options. Chadwick Trump has no options. Obviously, adding James McCann on a minor league deal. He's going to start in the minor leagues just like Craig Kimbrell, his deal up to $1 million. I know a lot of people don't like James McCann, and I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I know he hasn't like lit the world on fire, but he's a veteran, been around the league, understands the whole process. So I don't think I think Chadwick Trump, it might be a slight upgrade over Chadwick Trump. I'm not sure on that. But yeah, Perdomo was a little surprising. I thought he showed enough, for sure, especially the last 2 outings. But clearly the Braves have a plan, and they didn't see it. And plus, I think it opens up a 40 spot, I believe. It's a little surprising because the amount of all-star lefties, in the NL East and across Major League Baseball, it's a little sketchy to just have 2 left-handed pitchers in your bullpen right now. But again, there's still 9 days from the go bell, so I think there's still a lot of moves and a lot of things to be decided. I thought Perdomo did enough, but the Braves know better than I do, so. But I would expect we'd maybe have another lefty or somewhere. I mean, you've still got Jake Diekman in your minors, and that would be really good depth. I believe Chase and Shreve as well. So there's still some good depth lefty-wise in the minors. It'll probably be cash, for Perdomo, but who knows on that. Ian Anderson, again, I think it's Ian, no pictures on the scorecard Anderson, because 17 walks and 8 strikeouts isn't sustainable despite the 2.65 ERA. It's really not. And even if AJ Smith-Shawver slides into the 5 rotation spot, or 4, depending on how you want to slice it, because I think Shawver has proven that he deserves it with 18. He's like the anti-Ian Anderson, 18 strikeouts and just 3 walks. But if you put Ian Anderson in the bullpen, you literally have no margin for error if Ian Anderson's in the bullpen with his command issues. Can he still get people out and figure it out? Yeah, but most of his outings have been majority minor leaguers, so it definitely doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. Yes, Ian Anderson is all over the place, and I just don't know how it fits. I really, really don't. I love Ian Anderson, but somebody trying to say giving up 5 walks in an outing is the same thing as giving up 5 hits is not the case. And that will never be the case. The stress of the pitches, how you get to those 90 pitches, it's insane. So, I mean, yeah, Ian Anderson, the lines don't look bad and the results are not bad, but I just don't see him getting away with it as much against major league lineups constantly, no matter what role you put him in. And definitely if you put him in the bullpen as the long man, that's just asking for a disaster in my opinion. And again, I love Ian Anderson, but there's just got to be just cut down the walks like by 1.5 per outing. But you just in the deep counts and the working too hard to get one batter out, let alone inning after inning after inning. So likely Ian Anderson will make the roster, but it's only probably because he has no options. And we don't want to just lose him for nothing. But that's my brutally honest take on Ian Anderson. And I don't know. And I don't know if it's correct or fair or any of that. I really don't. But that's just my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he has a really good defense behind him, and I guess the best way I can put it is Ian Anderson is like the pitcher version of Orlando Arcia, except Orlando Arcia has really good defense, so you kind of forgive things, but like Ian Anderson's margin of error is so small. But again, I think everybody say I love Nick Allen, and I think he deserves to make the roster. I really do, but I feel like it's another one of those Vaughn Grisham, Orlando Arcia, Nacho Alvarez things like we had a couple years ago. It doesn't matter what Orlando Arcia did this spring, he's gonna make it. Now I think he might be pushed a little more with yeah, like I said, Allen, I think, has done enough to make the roster, and I think he could definitely push Orlando Arcia, and like maybe allow Snicker to. You're being a little too harsh on Kelnick, I think. But I get where you're coming from. But I think Kelnick's role was supposed to be one thing, and we had so many injuries. And yeah, I mean, I agree with the left-hander thing, especially with Kelnick. But I think now that he understands his complete role, gonna have Ronald back soon. And De La Cruz has been really solid against lefties. I don't think we have to worry about that. And I think the role will be more defined for Kelnick. Second year with the team, doesn't have to prove anything. I think he's going to have a better year. And I think Arcia, if he can hit 235 and 19 homers and 55 RBIs, I would be really happy because he does bring the vibes to the clubhouse, even though he drives us nuts and all that stuff. But I think Nick Allen having a solid spring and Eli White, that pushed the competition because Nick Allen is a very solid defender too. I don't think he's at the Arcia level, but I think he's solid and probably gives you a little bit better at bat. I think that could push Orlando for good things. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, I don't think it would matter what Orlando hit this spring. Like a couple of years ago when Vaughn hit like 345 and Nacho was opening eyes, and then we went with Orlando Arcia anyway, and it ended up working out. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I think the depth and versatility of the roster is going to be a lot better so that we're not scrounging if something goes wrong injury-wise. Plus, you've got Jurickson Profar on his way back as well. So, again, that takes some pressure off of Kelnick. And yeah, you're likely not going to see Kelnick against lefties. It's just not, you don't want to see it. So that's what De La Cruz is here for. And I know we all wanted splashier moves and things like that, but if you look at it, a lot of the non-roster or the minor league deal guys have done well enough and showed their own to. He's playing tomorrow, Joseph. From what I read, so I think we're okay there. But I think the De La Cruzes, the Hector Neris's, the De Los Santos's, they've made the decisions harder than I thought, given that we've used so many minor league deals and non-roster invitees, and they've had a good enough spring training where they can hold their own. They're veterans, and I actually didn't think that was going to happen given the different contracts and whatnot. So I'm pleasantly surprised in that regard, because after missing on a couple of blue chip guys that we wanted, and I'm sure other things falling through, it's been kind of pleasantly surprising that all of the guys that I just mentioned have been solid in spring training. So take that for what it's worth, but also that our opening day roster changes by the minute. I think one year we had Schuster and Dodd, the opening day rotation, and well, I mean, yeah, we had to replace our entire AAA roster pretty much, because they were all minor league. They all hit minor league free agency, which I didn't actually think was a possibility, but it definitely happened that way. And after 2024, with all the injuries and all the crazy, dumb, weird stuff that happened, you kind of gotta look yourself in the mirror and make sure that you have quality, so you're not scrounging. Even though that ended up working out too in some regard last year, you just don't want to constantly have to worry about that. Plus, now you got probably 2 more graduates out of the farm system, with AJ Smith-Shawver more likely to grace the opening day roster, and Drake Baldwin. So as weak as the rankings continually have the Braves, we continue to produce quality major leaguers. So it's just kind of a tip of the cap there, and just go with it. So I'm really intrigued, because I don't think the bullpen is completely done, because I don't think Christian Cairo or Anderson Pilar showed enough to keep them around on the roster. I really don't. But that's just me. And those guys are Rule 5, so we would have to offer them back to Miami and Cleveland. Both Christian Cairo and Anderson Pilar, they would have to stay on our roster, or we offer them back. And I don't think they showed enough in spring training to keep either of them. But we'll see. Anderson Pilar's kind of stuck around more than I thought. Yeah, but he still has to stick on our roster, major league roster, for a set time. I'm just not sure how long that time period is, but he still has to stick in that regard. So I don't know how that exactly works. Obviously, I think we'll get some clarity on that in a few days, in the coming days anyway. But I think that's how it works. I'm not quite sure. So we'll see. I was a bit surprised by Buck Farmer as well, but again, you added Hector Neris, who looked really good in his first live outing for the Braves the other night, and he's done a lot of backfield work and all that stuff. Do I think he'll make it back up? Yeah, I think he will. Just given, I mean, the back of the baseball card thing, and like I said, the uncertainty of the bullpen, the De Los Santoses, of the Hector Nerises and all that stuff. I don't know if that necessarily works, so we'll probably end up giving Craig a shot. But again, I think it's about a toss up whether he does or he doesn't. But somehow I feel like he will. Just because the vibes and having so much muscle memory of success and the mindset and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, David Robinson's still out there, and maybe he wants to retire at this point. I don't know. The bullpen, again, you'll probably get tired of me saying this, but it's literally a box of chocolates, and you never know. But that's the nickname I'm going to use all year long, so definitely get used to that. And Joseph, yeah, the Hornets. The Hornets are always the Hornets. Never, it doesn't matter what year it is. So me too. I'm gonna be happy to watch the Braves instead of the Hornets for sure. But I mean, it's probably the bullpen's probably gonna be better than everybody's anticipating. Just because we're using Yeah, we do. I live in Charlotte. Just because we're talking about it so much, and usually those. Yeah, I mean, well, at least you guys are competitive in most of your games. We're a coin flip whether we're competitive or not. But I think all the questions and those things usually work themselves out, and especially in the bullpen with the defined roles and things of that nature. I think it'll be fine. But obviously, if it doesn't start out great, then we'll all have our qualms and complain about it. But questions usually work themselves out. So, but I think the staff is actually going to be. Yeah, I think everybody would love a season for the Hornets to be healthy, but that never seems to be in the cards. I think the emergence of AJ Smith-Shawver and Grant Holmes and their ability to just go in whatever role we need them to go in is going to be a big factor too. And I think that's genuinely could be a blessing in disguise and just something that we look back on and say, wow, we are lucky to have them, and those guys, they could be the glue guys to the rotation / bullpen. So I think, but I'm not you. don't read too much into like the Craig Kimbrell thing. If it works, great. If it doesn't, eh. Yes, Neris did pitch. He had a 1-2-3 outing. I believe it was a couple of days ago. 1-2-3, 9 pitches, 3 outs, I believe. So can't remember. I think it was against Washington, maybe. A couple of fly outs and a ground out. So yeah, he's pitched. He'll probably likely make it. But again, bullpens are created in many different ways, and we're just going with the more not usual, unconventional route than we have in the past. And there's Hayden Harris is one to watch for in the bullpen as well. He's a lefty. Haven't seen him too much in minor leagues or whatnot, but he's one that we could see be a factor as another lefty in the pen. I've just always enjoyed his stuff. He's a fan of mine. So that could be a sneaky name to pay attention to when it comes to the staff and the bullpen. Because I think, though, you know what you're going to get with Iglesias, so I did. I saw Fuentes in the breakout game, and I was like, wow, that kid's only 19 years old. There's a lot there. There is a lot there. And I don't know if you project him as a starter or reliever. It looked like a starter to me. But 7 Ks, no walks, 1 hit, 3 innings, especially against the Tigers minor leagues, which is one of the best in baseball. That definitely is the ultimate eyeball emoji, as it were. See, the Braves always have some guys up our sleeves that you I don't think I had either, honestly. And I'm pretty well versed in the minors and stuff, but he kind of snuck in on the radar. But that's the beauty of the minor leagues and the way the Braves do it. There's always guys that kind of come out of nowhere and end up becoming a big part of the future and the plans. How far up is he? I wouldn't think he's that far up, but let me check. Dear. Fuentes. Let's see, where is he? He was at Augusta. So what's that? He's at Single A right now. He went 3-6 with a 274. 75 innings pitched, 98 strikeouts. So Single A right now. But the way the Braves do minor leagues, who knows where he could. He could easily be quickly in Double A this year. But I don't think you push him to as hard as you need to, but also just remembering he's 19 years old. But again, I think that you just let him tell you, let his stuff tell you, and let his maturity / makeup tell you. And the Braves have been done a great job with that, so I would definitely trust that. But I didn't realize he had 98 strikeouts in just 75 innings. That's something to look for sure. J.R. Ritchie looked good too. The velocity was up, for sure. So I mean, again, you don't think of our minors as like the top, but they end up becoming a factory, which is nice, and finding unknowns that become very important. I didn't think it was. I like the color scheme of the team. We probably will. I think easing him back, just he'll listen to his body, and Fuentes definitely could end up in Double A this year, based on the numbers, based on things. But again, the Braves will do the right thing with him, and I think the Braves know what they're doing with Ronald. They trust. They trust the process. They've been through it before. He's been through it before, so they'll listen to those factors for sure. I do appreciate the color scheme of the Double A. The name, nah, but well, see, there's a marketing chance there. But yeah, I think everybody's gonna be as cautious as they need to with Ronald, and as fast or slow, however that process goes, they'll do right by him, and they'll do right by the team, as they always have. Okay, yeah, well then that was definitely a miss. And yes, the Savannah Bananas are very entertaining. But I mean, there's only so many names, but I do love what Rome did. I do, so I'll give them credit there. But I think everybody freaking out about the opening day roster, like I said earlier, yeah, we're all curious and we all want it to work out perfectly. But remember the year not too long ago when we had, Dylan Dodd and Jared Schuster? Yeah, you're on a roll with that. But we had Dylan Dodd, Jared Schuster makes the first starts of the season a couple of years ago, and then it all worked itself out that way. So I think, yes, we're all curious, and yes, it all gives us talking points and me content creation, which I always appreciate, and all that stuff. But again, baseball has a tendency, along with every other sport, to to work itself out. And the way it's going to go, basically, and the way last year went, just kind of sit back, see what happens. Because it honestly can't get... Last year was insane. So just kind of sit back, see what happens, enjoy it. Try to enjoy it and embrace whatever comes, kind of thing, is the process that I'm going with. I don't know if that's the correct process or just the kind of the mindset I'm going in with, because a lot of teams have so many injuries. A lot of teams have so many injuries, and we've, knock on wood, been super lucky with... There you go. There's your last one, Julie. Yeah, you have your side dishes ready and all that stuff. But I mean, ultimately, as long as we put up a lot of W's and all that stuff, I think we'll stop complaining about the roster. And hey, maybe Craig Kimbrell's the new Jesse Chavez, where when he puts the uniform back on, it just all clicks back into place. I mean, this is why I don't speculate a lot, and I don't try to guess, and I don't try to whatever. I just try to digest every move and then give my thoughts that way, because it just creates a lot of... Yeah, I mean, we have a great team, and also there's more depth than you're thinking, and I think that it's a different way to do things, because obviously we wanted Jeff Hoffman, that didn't work out, and Tanner Scott, that didn't work out. So we tried to get the fancy... I have not yet been to a Bananas game. I don't know if I will. I want to. They look fun. They're very entertaining. And I've watched them on TV, but it feels like they're much better. They're much better on in person. And I'm sure their tickets are tough. That's a very entertaining venture to get. But I think it's just different because the Braves did try to go for two bigger names, and they didn't get them, and we usually do. So we just had to do it a little different this year, and it's not like any of us wanted it that way. And Alex Anthopoulos turns over every rock, and I think he's done that, and it's just going to be interesting. And obviously the start of the season, starting in San Diego and going to the Dodgers, that's not exactly an easy... It's not exactly an easy start, but I think it's a good measuring stick, and we'll see what happens. And you still got Jerickson Profar, you still got Matt Olson, you got Austin Riley. Thank God Austin Riley avoided disaster with the hit by pitch the other day. and Jerkson Profar did too. Ozzy, Michael Harris, who seems locked in right now, which is great. It's going to be interesting to see what guys are the glue guys and what guys come out of nowhere and just kind of stabilize everything. And those are probably the more important guys that you want and you want to see. So that'll be interesting. But I'm really excited. I really am. And I'm glad that the Braves are giving Drake Baldwin the likely start. He finally put some padding in those gloves, thank God. But I mean, it's who knows. Thank you. It's the risk you take, but that's why the minor leaguers, there's got to be some there's got to be some punishment or because minor leaguers not being able to control their fastball inside. I realize you have to pitch inside, but not being able to control your fastball sucks and it's inexcusable. But again, I don't know how you mitigate that, so to speak, either. Yeah, I will say though, if we sign Jesse Chavez back, I'm gonna be like, ugh. Craig Kimbrell at least hasn't been here for 10 years, and he might still have something left in the tank, so I'm willing to take that chance. But the only way I want Jesse Chavez back is an actual coach. But yeah, luckily we avoided disaster. Yeah. The Marlins got in trouble because they were trying to, I think I read today, they were trying to have a tryout for random people to try out for their single A baseball team, and MLB said they couldn't do it or something. So, and plus, we're not like the Yankees or the Orioles or the Mariners struggling with health or any of that. So as much anyway. So I give that credit. But yeah, the Marlins are ugh. The Marlins are just kind of sad at this point. But I mean, the White Sox have just botched the entire rebuild and all this stuff, and maybe they're finally gonna get it right at some point. But and I think they're gonna be a lot better than last year. Well, maybe not a lot better, but at least a little bit more respectable. Do you think there will ever be what's BB? What's I think yes, there'll be expansion. Nashville, probably, maybe. And everybody says that Charlotte should have an MLB team. And the only thing I ask for that is that they're in the AL so I can cheer for them that way. If that's what you're asking. Yeah, Nashville or Charlotte, even though I don't really want Charlotte unless it's the AL, so I can still. Why? Orlando has so many teams anyway, and they never. Like Florida in general has so many teams, and they never really. Like Tampa's one of the best teams in the league, but they never get respect, and they still can't get a stadium, and it's a very annoying situation. So I don't think Florida necessarily needs another one, but okay. I mean, sure, I guess. But there's going to be expansion somewhere, probably. But like I said, as long as it's in the AL side of if Charlotte were to get a team, then I'd be fine with that. I just I find it weird that so many places that have so many teams always want more, and they don't even pay attention to the ones that they have. So, I mean, good for them, but I'm just before you expand things, I wish teams would give the teams that want to stay stadiums and their fans respect and things of that nature instead of just automatically going to. Well, good. Then don't have to worry. Probably because the Charlotte Knights do so well here. But that's just me. My take on expansion is always that you should worry about the teams that are already there before you worry about new ones anywhere. Yeah, but the minor league wide world of sports wasn't the favorite of the Braves when we were there, if I can remember correctly. But I see that. I mean, that's just my take on expansion in general. Not trying to be weird about Orlando at all. If they get one, great. If they don't, well, I don't know. I just think Tampa's got the raw end of the deal, and I wish that wasn't the case. Yeah, I think they did because it was such a multiplex complex and all that stuff. Um, just some other news and notes. Patrick Corbin signed a 1-year deal with the Texas Rangers, which honestly could be really good. Getting out of Washington finally, being with Bruce Bochy and things of that nature, that could be really good. Yu Darvish may not be ready for spring training, or I mean, not spring training, for opening day, which could affect who the Braves face. Um, in the first series after Michael King. Justin Verlander's had an impressive spring. I haven't looked and seen how Charlie's done. I forgot. But they're dealing with a ton of injuries. The Mariners are as well. But again, there's still a lot of things to be decided. There's 9 days, and I think the Braves still have 36 in camp, and I gotta get it down to 26, and so we'll see how it works. But seriously though, if Jesse Chavez comes back as a player, I don't know how, if it works again, I'll just be insanely shocked. He hasn't had a good spring with Texas. But again, I don't know how you judge spring because Perdomo was solid, but we had other ideas. So again, how different teams judge spring training is just very, very subjective, and a process that I'm glad I don't have to decide. I am glad that the Braves have made decisions tough. The Braves players have made decisions tougher and things of that nature. And by the way, Ronaldo Lopez is fine. He's been just working on the backfields and things. I think he's starting this week, so he should be good there. I have not. Tomorrow's Yankees, and I think it's on TV somewhere. And then I think we get CJ and Brandon again on Thursday. So, and probably a lot more moves and different things will happen then as well. But I think that's all I've got. Pretty much. Good luck with your March Madness brackets. I did only one, and I'm just sticking to that. I think I have Houston winning. So we'll see how it goes. See if North Carolina can move on. I didn't think they deserved it, but we'll see. UNC probably shouldn't have made it, but we'll take it and see if we can run with it. But as always, go Braves, champions forever. See you next week when things really get rolling. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps out a lot. Thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging.